the ruling class is now completely gloating about the fact that they succeeded in stripping down the budget reconciliation bill, otherwise known as Biden's Build Back Better agenda, including paid family leave, free community college, expansions to Medicare, and all sorts of things that would have improved people's lives. Here's Republican Senator Mitt Romney referencing the hit show Ted Lasso by giving corporate Democrat Kyrsten Sinema a cookie. Now, it's important to understand the context here, right? So if you don't watch Ted Lasso, you should know that what they're referencing is Ted Lasso, the coach that was hired to basically be the coach of a soccer team in the UK. He usually gives a cookie every day to the owner of that soccer team. Now, the owner of that soccer team specifically hired Ted Lasso because she knew that he would be an awful coach since he's never coached, European soccer before or football. And so she did it intentionally to sabotage her own team because that team happens to be the team that her ex-husband loved so much and she became in charge of after they divorced. So that's what they're referencing here. She is like laughing about the fact that she sabotaged her own political party in helping to destroy Biden's agenda.
So let's break it down further. So in the Capitol, they're having a grand old time. So paid family leave is out now. So if you have a baby and your company doesn't cover it, and less than 20% of companies cover it, you're gonna have to go back to work immediately. Okay, get out of the hospital, take off the robes, and get back into the factories. Okay, so that's gone. And they're having biscuits for the boss. They're having a tea party in Washington. Here in the districts, we're dying. The drug prices are so high, you're rationing drugs, and that's leading to people dying. But they're having tea and biscuits at the Capitol. They're having a fabulous time. And she's playing dress up as she did the other day. She loves to play dress up. It's literally the Hunger Games. And then the second part of it is, okay, put aside the reference to Ted Lasso and it's a female boss, but even if it was a male boss, do you think that Mitt Romney would have done this with Bernie Sanders? Now, you all know that Bernie Sanders wouldn't have done this. Why? Because they're not on the same team. But Sinema and Romney are on the same team. Sinema's technically a Democrat and Romney's technically a Republican, but they're both on team corporate donors. And they both get paid by corporate donors, and that's why they're doing this. But guys, most importantly, they're laughing at you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. She knows that she sabotaged her own party, and they're making a reference to a show with a boss that tried to sabotage her own soccer team.
And she knows she's with the Republicans and killed every good provision in this bill on behalf of Mitt Romney, the wealthy, and the Republicans.
And just to show you Mitt Romney's tweet, he's the one who said, biscuits with the boss. And you guys know how I feel about people like Kyrsten Sinema. You think I think she deserves any cookies? I don't know. No cookies for you, I'm sorry. Cookies, no cookies for Sinema. In fact, far worse. She's awful, she should be primaried. I hope people don't forget about what happened this year with her completely turning her back on her own constituents. She needs to be primaried. The election isn't for another, 2 years?
Yeah. So guys, we read you all her quotes. I'm kind of sick of reading her previous quotes to you guys. She claimed it was unconscionable not to negotiate drug prices, unconscionable not to do paid family leave, on and on. All the provisions she killed now. And as I said earlier in the show, they featured Anna on a New York Times podcast, and then I wound up listening to it. And the two reporters were like, I don't know why Sinema's doing this. It seems like it's the exact opposite of what she was saying before. I wonder why. Does she think Arizona's population is more Republican than the voting seems to indicate? A Democrat won recently. They're like, duh, come on guys. And it's amazing. So they're not evil, they're not. But the other explanation is not very good either. They're in the job of reporting and they don't know a thing about politics.
In fact, in the beginning of that podcast, they claimed that, Manchin's against these provisions because he's in a purple state and
no, you're doing marketing for Manchin.
Yeah, that's not what's happening.
Well, don't you? No, but seriously, guys, you're reporters for the New York Times. Do you not know the polling out of West Virginia? In West Virginia, they want this bill desperately. And if you ask them about the specific policy proposals, it's even more popular. You know who wants lower drug prices? Of course, everybody, except one group of people, drug companies. It's not complicated. It's not remotely complicated. As I said earlier in the show, you know who is against the billionaire tax? Billionaires, and they took it out because they're the people they're trying to please are billionaires and corporations. So guys, we tell you facts and you could look them up. And by the way, the mainstream media, to their kind of credit, they also have the facts. They're not lying to you. They say they were arguing between 3.5 trillion and 1.5 trillion. And the compromise was at 1.75 trillion. So the corporate guys, Sinema, Manchin, and Biden and Pelosi totally won. They crushed the progressives. We're progressives, we wish it weren't the case, but our job is to tell you the truth. So what's the difference between us and mainstream media? They tell you the same numbers we tell you, then they frame it as, oh, they had to do it because the people of West Virginia love higher drug prices.
Yeah.
And Manchin is serving the people of West Virginia. And then they like, an analysis for Kyrsten Sinema. Maybe she thinks Arizona turned more Republican. Well, their analysis sucks. You could be your own judge. You figure it out. Let's just do a quick exercise. Do you think 1.75 trillion is closer to 1.5 trillion or 3.5 trillion? Oh, I did the math on it. You could do the math at home too. That means the corporate goons won. Do you want paid family leave? Almost every one of you wants it. Do you want lower drug prices? Did you want free community college for 2 years? Did you want the Trump tax cuts to be repealed? You wanted all of those things, including the Republican voters, including the tax cuts for the rich. You got none of it, but New York Times can't figure out. And then Romney and Sinema rub your faces in it. So every time you have a baby, or anybody in your family does, and you have to go right back to work, Manchin and Sinema and Romney and those goons did that to you, okay? Every time you can't pay for your drugs, Manchin, Sinema, Romney, and all those corporate goons, they did that to you on purpose, and they did it for money.
Remember when Romney was pretending like he was in favor of child tax credits?
Oh yeah, that was
Remember
hilarious. Yeah, he's voting no on everything.
Of course.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.